Did school start today? I thought y'all would all be like, sorry kids. So thank y'all for coming. This is really cool. Hey! Look at y'all with your shirts. I am a little spacey today. I'm just going to warn you on that. We're going to do a Q&A. So, anyone have, is it hot? You know, I'm from Texas, and it's hot in Texas. This is a different kind of heat. I think I like it better. Like, I'm not drenched in sweat as soon as I walk outside. I like it. So, but yeah, it's hot. Anyone have any questions? Oh, before we start, let's not ask any questions about It Ends With Us. Because I know a lot of you haven't had a chance to read it yet, and I'd hate to get it spoiled. So, but if you have a comment or anything you want to tell me when you come up here and get your book signed, that's fine. Just let's not ruin it for everyone else.
Yay.
Okay, so raise your hands if you have questions. Yes.
If you could pick any characters from your books to act or hang out with, who would it be?
If I could pick any characters from my books to hang out with, who would it be? Probably Daniel from Finding Cinderella. I think he's really fun. And I don't know. I think it'd be fun to hang out with like Ridge and Sydney and Warren and all them for maybe someday. Who would you pick? What's your question?
I'm an older girl, so.
Anyone else? Nobody has any questions. Yeah. How many of my books are being made into movies? I have like three that have been, the rights have been purchased. I've sold more than that, but I only sell them for like 12 to 18 months, and then they'll revert back to me. So Hopeless has reverted back to me. I just re-signed a contract for Slammed. Ugly Love, y'all know about that one. And hopefully we'll get some news soon. I know a couple of months ago they said they found their take, and they told me who it was, but they were waiting on contracts to come in, and so I'm just waiting to hear from them because I'm ready for them to announce it. So, and then the other one I can't announce yet. I haven't been given clearance, but I'm really excited about it. It is a pretty much done deal. They've already got the screenplay done, and it's exciting. Yeah, so yeah, and they don't want to announce it until they have the full cast. So that one's going to be really good. I'm not telling you. Anyone else? Yes. You.
With books like Hopeless and the new one, when it comes to those taboo subjects, do you find that it's hard for you to adjust going back into your everyday life and not having those emotions go back with you?
I'm a pretty soulless person. I know it doesn't seem like that with my books, but like I don't cry, and I think that's why I write such emotional books, because I don't know where to draw the line. I'm still not crying while I'm writing, so I just keep trying to make it sadder and sadder. But with It Ends With Us, I bawled like a baby, and I think that one's just because it was very personal to me. And when you read it, you'll find out why. But that one's been really tough. This has been like the hardest book I've written, the hardest release, because every day I get emails. The discussion group makes me cry. Like every single day on this tour, like when I have a couple of hours of downtime in the hotel room, I'm just sitting on my laptop crying. Like I've had a crybaby headache for a week and a half now. So it's turned me into like, I don't know, like an emotional person, and it's weird. It's so weird. But yeah, I think my next book is going to be a really happy one. I need a departure from that for just at least one book, like chick lit or just something completely different. So expect that. Yes.
Inspired by music, did you have any bands in mind or listening to anything while you wrote that book?
When I plot books, I listen to a lot of music, but when I actually write, I have to have complete and utter silence. I even take like the batteries out of my clock. Any noise just bothers the heck out of me. But I listened to, there was a song, I can't remember what it's called, and It's not on iTunes, but it's from Manchester Orchestra, and something about Girl with Broken Wings. But that one I would listen to on repeat, and my kids got so tired of it because in the car, every time we went anywhere, it would just play and play and play, and they're so sick of that song. But I love 21 Pilots, Everyone Toxic Event, Ex-Ambassadors, Avett Brothers. Like, I could go on and on. Someone over here had their hand. Yeah.
How did you start working with Griffin?
That's an interesting story. It is hot in here.
Yes.
You can't like laugh at me when I'm up here drenched in sweat. And like, this is maybe way too much information, but I left my bra in California, and so I'll have my sports bra. So I'm already feeling like self-conscious. What was the question? Oh, working with Griffin. Griffin was the musician who wrote all the music for Maybe Someday. This is an interesting story. When I wrote Hopeless, I wasn't planning on writing a follow-up to it, but I started on Losing Hope, and one night while I was in my office writing it, I started getting all these tweets and messages saying, "Holders on American Idol, Holders on American Idol." I'm like, what? And so I turned it on. It was Griffin auditioning on American Idol. And I just thought it was really cool, but then I looked him up on Facebook, and his page was flooded with people calling him Holder. And I felt so bad, so I sent him an email, and I'm like, hey, I wrote this book, I'm writing the sequel. People are saying this because of this reason, I'm sorry. But he was really cool about it, wrote me back, was like, no, that's so cool, you know, that's fine. So then like 4 months later, when we needed a cover for the book, Atria asked me what I wanted the cover to look like, and I was like, let's ask Holder. So I called him, and I was like, hey, would you want to be on the cover of this book? And he was really excited to do it. They did a photo shoot in Nashville, and then after that, we just kind of became friends. And when I got the idea for Maybe Someday, we were chatting about it one day, and I was actually working with a different musician, and that didn't work out, and it was at the very end of when the book was due and the music was due. And so I called, well, actually I Facebooked him at like 2 in the morning. I'm like, hey Griffin, you remember that book I'm writing that needs music? Oh, well, it needs all new music, and I have 2 weeks to turn it in. And so he came back, he worked his butt off, got it done, and the rest is history. He's a really good guy, really, really good guy. Yes.
Are you enjoying having Levi with you?
Am I enjoying having Levi with me? Where is Levi? I'm enjoying having Levi with me because, well, first of all, it's, you know, gets lonely when you travel alone all the time. But it's also really nice because he like carries my stuff, carries my suitcases, my backpack, and you know, it's been really cool. But he has had his headphones in pretty much the whole weekend. He's 15, so. But, you know, it's neat because I don't think he really got it. You know, he knows that I would leave and go do these book signings. But until, like, he actually walked out with me one day and was like, oh, wow, this is what you do. This is actual work. Like, you know, every day we've been getting up at 6 in the morning, a different flight, a different state, a different hotel every single day. And so he's exhausted, and I love it. I do like that. You go back to school, and you enjoy it now, and then dread when you have to grow up. But no, I love my job. Yes.
Are you surprised about how successful the book was?
Just how, if I'm surprised at how successful the Bookworm Box has become. I am. That one was just, you know, like an idea I had on a whim. Didn't initiate it for like a year after thinking about it, and then when we did, we sold out in 4 minutes. I mean, it's been crazy, and I want it to be bigger, and I know that it can be bigger, but you know, it's like on the back burner for me, and I'm the one that runs the whole thing, and you know, I have this whole other full-time career, and so coordinating like 5,000 books a month signed by authors to send out in these boxes, like it takes up a lot of time. So I think it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I finally got someone on board, hired her to work about 30 hours a week, and she's done more in 2 weeks than I've done in a year. So I'm really excited. I think it's gonna do big things this year. Yes.
So I know, like you had said a while back, that you weren't ready to move on from this book until it was released, and you kind of got feedback or whatever from it. Do you feel like now that it's out and you've gotten all of it, like, are you ready to dive into something else, or are you still kind of like in the bubble for
Yeah, I mean, it's still really new. It hadn't even been a week since it released, and the whole week I've been so busy, so I haven't even really had a chance to just sit down and, really see what's happened. Like, I've got so many unread emails that I haven't gotten to yet. I do plan on starting something when I get back. I have a chapter written that I wrote a couple months ago for Hate Letter. I don't know if any of you saw that. A couple years ago, I put it up saying that I was going to write it, and then I ended up putting it aside and writing something else. But it's a YA book, and I'm really excited about it. So I think that's probably going to be what I write next. Anyone else? Yes.
The criticism that you receive, whether it be good or bad, do you ever let that affect you, or how do you just overcome that, the criticism about your writing?
When I first started, I think with my first book, it was weird. Like, when someone would tell me how bad they hated the book and stuff, it was really a struggle. And like, oh, what did I do wrong? And I got over that real fast because I realized, like, you know what? I'm happy with the way I wrote it. I wouldn't change it. Not everyone is going to receive a book the same way. Just with this one, like, the amount of feedback I've gotten, even the positive feedback, two totally different sides of the spectrum. And so it's just interesting to see that two people can love a book and take so much difference away from it, So I don't let it bother me, because I think the most important thing is you shouldn't really put a book out there until you're happy with it and you please yourself first. And there are always going to be critics, always. Like, there's not a book out there that doesn't have bad reviews. And so if you are working on a book or you have a book out, don't let it bother you. If you're happy with it, that's all that matters. Yes?
What's the last book you read?
What's the last book I read? Today on the plane I was reading Penny in London by Fisher Amelie. Yeah, I like it. I'm only it's not very long, about halfway through. It was a short flight. But I also read Swear on This Life by Renee. It comes out tomorrow. Y'all need to get that. It's good. I think me and her have very similar writing styles, if y'all read her. Anyone back here? I don't want to keep y'all too long. It's so hot, so I'm going to get her first one.
Who's your favorite author?
I don't really have a favorite author. I don't really get to read a lot, unfortunately. I probably read max 6 books a year, just because of time. But I've been on a Kurt Vonnegut kick. Yeah, that's weird because I usually read contemporary romance. I usually read books that my publisher will send me to blurb or something, but I've been on a Kurt Vonnegut kick, so expect this YA book to become weird. And you have a question?
Does your husband read your books? I'm
Does
trying
my
to get my husband to read
my
yours,
books?
but he won't.
My husband is dyslexic, so he struggles when he reads, so he listens to the audiobooks. But that ended with maybe someday. When Rich and Sydney were on the bed writing music together. He was like, "That's cheating." I'm on the bed with someone else, and he never even got, further than that. And so I was like, "Sydney, you just need to stop." So that's the last one he was in. But he likes to hear about them. He likes, I run through when I'm plotting it out. I'll run through the whole plot line with him and stuff, and we'll talk about them. But he's not a huge reader, which is fine because he loves sports and I hate sports. And I feel like reading and writing is my hobby, and so I'm like, you don't make me watch sports, and I won't make you read romance novels. Yeah, we'll take 1 or 2 more so we can get going with the signing. Yeah.
What's your writing process like?
She asked what my writing process was like. That's cute. I'm the most disorganized person you will ever meet in your life. I have no routine. Routines and deadlines stress me out and make me want to go watch TV. So I don't force it. I just write when I feel like writing, and sometimes I'll go 2 or 3 months without writing a single word, and I'll focus on the bookworm box and other stuff. And I think that's one of the most important things if you're writing is writer's block happens, and don't stress out about it. You don't have to put a book out every month. I think, a lot of these authors are really prolific, and it just sometimes makes me feel like I'm not doing my job. But then I look back and I'm like, well, I've done 10 novels in almost 5 years. That's not too bad. And so even if I do one novel a year, you know, that's not bad. So I'm just not going to stress out about it. Outlines, sometimes I do them, sometimes I don't. It depends on the book and my mood. With Ugly Love, I wrote all the odd chapters first, all the Houses chapters, and then I went back and wrote Tate, you know. So sometimes I go in order, sometimes I go out of order like that. Sometimes I write, with It Ends With Us, I actually have like 2 or 3 versions of that book. I mean, I probably wrote 300,000 words and kept 100,000 of them. So I throw away probably more than I actually keep. Sorry, that didn't help at all.
Do your kids share the same passion for writing as you have?
Not really. Kel, my middle one, he wants to write. He comes up with some crazy ideas, but then he's like, I don't actually want to sit down and do it. He'll tell me what I should write for him. It's not gonna work that way. But you know, they're young, so I don't try to pressure them. I didn't figure out what I was gonna be when I grew up till I was 31. So, but they don't really like my books. I let them read Slammed, and Levi got to chapter 4, and then he stopped. And then Kel listened to actually Slammed, and then went on to Point of Retreat. He did the audiobook, and didn't like the first chapter. He was like, it was too much romance. Yeah. And then they probably don't need to read my other ones.
One more of you guys. Yeah.
Right there.
So, I guess, what advice would you give to somebody who wants to write something but it's very personal to them? How did you get through it?
How did I get through writing something very personal? I didn't really struggle with it. I don't know. Like, I never put anything from real life into my books, mainly because I don't want to make people mad. And so when I decided to write It Ends With Us, I just asked a couple of people that I thought maybe I should get permission from first. And they were all for it, and so I just put it out there. Like, I don't really care a lot what people think. That's a really, I like that I don't, because I know that when it comes to writing and putting yourself out there, it's scary. It's really scary. And so I just don't think about it, and I pretend like no one reads what I write. Sometimes I forget, y'all, and I'll put something on Facebook or Instagram, and then the next day I'll see it like has like 10,000 likes. So I'm like, oh my God, 10,000 people just saw me do that. I just forget, you know. So just make yourself happy. That's all you need to worry about. Don't worry about anyone else. One more. You back there, you had your hand up. I'll get both of y'all. Okay.
I was just wondering how you and Karen Fisher got started with all the creepy dolls.
How did Karen get started with all the creepy dolls? I think it started when I went to Evolution in New York and found a bat, like a dead bat, and sent it to her. And I didn't tell my mailman until afterwards that I mailed a dead animal. But so then I found a Siamese twin candle that was really creepy. So then she started sending me really creepy baby dolls, like really creepy ones. But I display them. My house is weird, y'all. And then who over here had their hand raised?
Did you and Terry Fisher have a reason for making Never Never into 3 parts as opposed to just one novel?
We did. Let me think of how this started. We actually had no idea we were going to write a book together. I told her an idea I had for a YA book about 2 years ago, and she's been on me to write it, and I never would because I just never fit it into my schedule. So she ended up writing the first chapter and emailing it to me. She was like, here, I wrote the first chapter for you, now finish it. and I really liked it, and so I wrote the second chapter from the guy's point of view and then sent it to her, and it went back and forth like that for probably half the book. And then we're like, oh, let's release this. So we put it up for pre-order, and that's when I realized I had a contract with a publisher. I can't do that. So the only way we could put it out was to split it up. It had to be less than like 35,000 words per part. And so it was completely only because of my contract with my publisher, and I was only allowed to release novellas. And I tried to explain that as best I could on Facebook, but still everyone's like, you're just doing this to cheat us out of our money. And I'm like, you know, they got a full-length novel for the same price as my other full-length novels. It just seems more expensive when you break it up and pay $2 something for it. But Taryn and I have decided if we ever write anything again, we're not going to make the mistake of putting a deadline on it. And we're not going to announce it. If we do something in the future, we'll just write it and put it out when it's all finished and ready to go.
Okay.
I think y'all are probably ready to get started with this right now. All right, well, she is going to announce how this is going to work, so I'm going to give her a minute to do that. Thank y'all so much.
Everyone, I just want to take a minute to